All right. Hey, I think we're going. I think we're going now. So, good evening. Thank you guys for joining tonight. This is a weekly live broadcast, generally every Thursday evening about 7 o'clock Central. This is where I am. Now, unless something comes up, sometimes I can't make it, but most of the time, Thursday nights, 7 o'clock Central, I do this live broadcast. And the whole point of this, I'll get the disclaimers out of the way while we're waiting for everybody to get in here and get going. The whole point of this is just to respond to your guys' live chats that come in during the live broadcast. So hopefully I can get to all of them. I usually do get to pretty much all of them. The only things I ask is be family friendly, be polite, don't start cussing, don't start calling people names, don't be hateful with anybody. We'll have to kick you out if you do. But other than that, everything pretty much is good. You can just ask me a bit about anything you want to ask me. And let's get into it real quick. I'm seeing a few of the chats coming in right now and getting kind of distracted here. So, hey, My Shire Farm is here, or was here anyway. Says, hello to all. Can't stay, but wanted to stop by. And it's on my weekly playlist to listen to tomorrow while working in the barn. Well, thank you, Zach. I appreciate that. And good to see you, even if you weren't able to stay by. That's okay. Or stay in. That's okay. I can't ever seem to make it to anybody else's live broadcasts. 12 Gauge says, hey, Chris and all from North Central Arkansas. Just FYI, I changed my name from Sillamore. It's 1961 on here. So I could begin to build up a channel for my cute dog named Gage. LOL. Awesome. That sounds great. Good luck with your channel. I hope that goes well. James. Hey, Chris, I'm in the doghouse and it's all your fault. Oh, no. What did I do? It says, I bought a Hovebator 1588. You recommended it. And naturally, I failed to run it by the by SWMBO. I don't know what all that means exactly, that acronym, but I'm sure I could figure it out. I'm probably guessing it's your better half. And says, here I am. Hit the button, guys. Well, thanks, James. Appreciate it. Sorry, I got you in trouble there. Yeah, you got to run it by somebody first, huh? Sorry, I got you in trouble, but hopefully it's a great incubator and it works out well for you. I've heard nothing but good things about them, and I think if I need to buy another one, that's what I'm going to be getting. All right. Verna's here. Hey, Verna, good to see you. It says 11 waiting, only 17 likes. Oh, thank you very much. And James says, hit the button, guys, or no soup for you. I'm not a big soup eater myself. It's not one of those things I eat very often, but that's not the point to your comment. Thank you for suggesting that. Do hit the likes button if you guys enjoy this content. If you find it valuable, then it does help to get it out to other people. So I appreciate it. All right, Owen, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Tom Parker, hello to you. Paula, good to see you, Paula. Says popping in again because my regular is not on tonight. So, hey there. Well, thanks for joining. I like how you always let me know that I'm playing second fiddle to your regular show, but I'm just kidding. I know you don't mean it like that, and even if you did, it doesn't hurt my feelings. So, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. And this is, who's that? Psycho Ward. Okay. Says hello to everybody from Vegas. Good to see you. Andy Rabbit, hello to you. Robert Hermson. There we go. Got it right eventually. Hello. Verna says, this will be great. It'd be a great night. I hope it is. Hello to you, Jay Moore. And let's see, Robert. What's the most babies you have seen or heard of in a litter of rabbits? Oh, my goodness. I don't know. Probably most I've ever had personally, I think, is probably about 12. But, usually anything over about 10 or 11, it's kind of hard. You usually lose one or two of those. I have heard of rabbits having up to 14 or 15 babies in a litter, but I think that's probably pretty rare. All right, Cameron says, hello, Chris and everyone from Oklahoma. Well, I'm not from Oklahoma, but I don't think that's probably what you mean. You're from Oklahoma, probably. You're not saying hello to everybody from Oklahoma, but you're from Oklahoma, I'm guessing. So my wife is from Oklahoma, actually, and still works there. Still works in Oklahoma, which, if you guys are wondering, I live in Southwest Missouri. Oklahoma is like 30 minutes away. I mean, it's 30 minutes to her job from here. It's actually closer to that to get to the Oklahoma line. All right, Gary, good to see you. Gary from North Carolina. Trucker Planet, hello to you. James says, this is James T. Do we have another James in here? I don't know if we do. Says, had 20 eggs in the incubator. Everything was going good 2 days before lockdown. Lost electric for 8.5 hours. Did hatch sets. For 8.5 hours, did hatch sets. Baby quail not going to hatch anymore until spring. Egg and I farm. Okay, egg and I farm, I think, is what that you're signing off that, I think, is probably the name of your farm is my guess. So yeah, you lost electric for 8.5 hours. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. And then it says, did hatch sets baby quail. I'm not sure what that means, if you didn't have any hatch or if you hatched a few. Either way, I'm sorry that you had the problems. I'm sorry to hear that. I'll probably hold off on hatching until spring myself. It's just a little bit tricky sometimes in the wintertime to, get the babies from the brooder box. I have to keep them in the brooder box too long. I'm just going to hold off till spring probably. Robert says, happy Veterans Day to all the vets on here. Absolutely. I meant to open up with that and I forgot to. Yes, all the vets, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. I do appreciate it. And I know many of us do. Paula says, I'm a mod on is the only reason why. So I know that. I'm just giving you a hard time. It's all good. And like I said, even if you do prefer their live broadcast over mine, even if that was the case, it's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings. We're not in competition with each other. We're all here together. It's all good. It doesn't bother me a bit if you want to watch somebody else's live broadcast or somebody else's channel or whatever. If over mine, it's fine. It doesn't hurt my feelings. All right. Jesse says, good evening to everyone from cold, rainy Iowa. Supposed to get our first white 4-letter word tonight. Oh my goodness. We're supposed to have our first, sorry, I got distracted. We're supposed to have our first hard freeze on Saturday. And Saturday is rifle season. I have not got a deer yet with my bow. Saw some, but I have not got one yet. I've been trying to film that for you guys. I figured it wasn't worth posting a hunting video where, I only saw one deer walk through the woods and, 2 days I filmed for you guys. Saw one deer go across in front of the blind, but he was a pretty young buck, so I let him go. And then one deer walked through the woods the next day, and I couldn't even get that on film. It was just in the woods. It was hard to see. So wasn't very exciting video. So I don't know. I'm going to try to take the camera out with me. We'll see how it goes. It's incredibly hard to film your hunts. A lot of the times the deer are just on you before you even know it. And it's really hard to get that all on camera. But we'll see what I can do. If I can get it all filmed and get an interesting video together for you guys, I'll post it. But yeah, rifle season this weekend. By the way, I need to apologize. I didn't get any videos out this week. I meant to, but I was hunting Saturday and Sunday mornings and just other things going on, and just it got away from me and I didn't get videos done. So hopefully this week will be better. I'll get more for you. Let's see. Paula Adams says, hello, my first time watching live. Well, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Berna says, Paula Wells is a great moderator on Hidden Heights Farm. Yeah, I knew that actually. Got a couple. Hey, Whiskey Tango Farms is here. Good evening, Whiskey Tango. It's good to see you guys. Let's see. I'm skipping comments where you guys are talking to each other, which it's fine. Talk to each other all you want. I'm just going to skip over them for now. Joy, hello from Oregon. Good to see you. Hello to you, S. McKee. Let's see. Tom Parker, happy Veteran Day to all the vets. Thanks for your service, past and present. I echo that. I agree. Bob, hey, Chris, have you harvested a deer or turkey this season yet? If you use a scent to attract deer, what do you use? I don't use a scent to attract deer. I mean, I do sometimes get some like teaks, the doe and estrus stuff, and I'll put that out a little bit, but I've never really seen it do much good. So I don't use that. I have not gotten a deer or a turkey. Haven't even seen a turkey for fall. But again, this weekend's rifle season, so I'll be switching over to rifle. That means that I can see the deer coming from a long ways away. I don't have to get them quite as close. I might be able to hopefully get a deer this weekend. Hey, Ed Got Baits here. Good to see you. Robert says, my female rabbit had 9 babies. Fantastic. Congratulations. That's a good size litter. I'm sure it's going to work out well. And Ed says, good luck on your hunt, Chris. Hope you bag one. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate that. Paulo says, you're only one of 2 channels I watch that I don't mod. I'm too busy with that to get to just sit back and watch much more. Hey, I get it. I understand busy. Trust me. Let's see. Chris Winger says, hey, Chris, are New Zealand and California cross rabbits okay for breeding? Absolutely. It's one of the best you can get. I mean, there's several different breeds of meat rabbits. They're all good, but California and New Zealand are kind of the classic go-to meat rabbits, and crossbreeding 2 purebred rabbits, a New Zealand doe, a California buck, or a California doe and a New Zealand buck, And, if they're purebred and you crossbreed them, you're going to get that, what they call hybrid vigor in that first line, the first, the babies that they have. That hybrid vigor really does. It is a thing. It's really a thing. You're going to get good offspring. Usually they're going to be really resistant to disease and illness and all those kinds of things. You're going to get good grow out rates as long as you're using two good, purebred rabbits. Crossbreeding them like that is a really good thing to do. You're going to get fantastic results out of that. So yeah, absolutely. That's what I have right now: a California buck and a New Zealand doe, and they're great. All right. Oh, look at that. We got a super chat from somebody. Jamming Mike. Thank you very much for that, Mike. I appreciate that. It's a $5 super chat. Very generous. Let's see. Whiskey Tango says, got 8 kits Tuesday from our mini Rex. Awesome. Congratulations. And says they're doing great so far. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. I don't know if you guys plan, if you're selling them or any of those kinds of things. I'm not sure why you would breed mini Rex if you weren't planning on selling them for like pets or something. But congratulations on that. Hope they all do really well. Gary B's here. Good to see you, Gary. Let's see. Verna wants pics of the baby rabbits. Yeah, you should post them. All right. James says, out of 20 eggs, I did hatch 6 baby quail. Okay, so not all is lost, but still not great results on that. Yeah, sorry to hear that, for sure. Paula Adams says, I'm in McDonald County. I'm new to quail. I have a 3-week-old baby quail. When can I put them with the adult quail? In McDonald County, that's just right down the road from me. I like McDonald County quite a bit. Actually, I hunt in McDonald County, so I don't know exactly what part of McDonald County you're in, but either way, you're probably not too far from me. Okay, so 3-week-old baby rabbits. When can you put baby quail? When can you put them in with the adults? Anytime you want. It really depends on if your hutches are outside, inside, if they're temperature controlled or any of those kinds of things. If you're putting them in an outside hutch, you might wait a little while, but that's just because of the weather. Again, we're supposed to get a hard freeze this weekend. You might give them, and it's supposed to warm up next week. So I'd give them at least through the end of the weekend before you move them out of the brooder into the outdoors. They probably would be okay, but you don't know for sure. And it's going to get pretty chilly this weekend. Let me grab a drink here. But as far as combining them with older quail, 3 weeks old is plenty old enough to go ahead and throw them in with the older quail as long as they're acclimated to that temperature. And, you're not going to have any problems with the weather, the temperature, any of those kinds of things. It's not going to be a problem with the birds. In fact, about 3 weeks old is about the time I like to move them in with the adults. I would do it before they're 5 or 6 weeks old if you can, because at 6 weeks old, especially if you have lights on them, 14 hours a day of light, then they start becoming closer to sexually mature, and that's when you usually get the fighting and the picking on them and all those kinds of things that happen. So at 3 weeks old, though, I've had really good results moving them out at 3 to 4, even up to 5 weeks old, just putting them in with the adult birds and no problems whatsoever. So yeah, anytime you want to do it, as long as they're acclimated to the temperature, they're ready to go. All right. S. McKee says, I don't hunt, but my nephew must because his dad brought me about 10 packages. The pressure cooker stew I made with 2 of the packages was delicious. Yeah, that's always nice to have if you don't hunt yourself, to have a family friend or something like that, or a family member that does and is willing to share their harvest a little bit. The Missouri Conservation Department does a fantastic job, just a great conservation department in general, I think. I'm personally think so anyway. I think one of the best in the country. They've always been nothing but helpful to me whenever I've called up and asked questions. I've looked for places to hunt publicly. They're always really helpful, point you in the right direction, tell you where to go. They put on all kinds of seminars. They just do a great job all the way around. That's not my point to what I was getting at, but anyway, they do a share the harvest. So if you're a hunter, but you don't really want to save all the meat, they will take that and they'll share it with families in need. So people that are, having a hard time providing food for their family, you can donate through that Share the Harvest program and it will go out to families in need. And I think that's just a great program. All right. Jay Moore says, I got 3 quail near ready to go out and then done for the year. Yeah. 23 quail. I think I said that. Yeah. I just put my last batch for the year, I think, or for the season anyway. Yeah, for the year, because it won't get warm till spring. I just put them out in the outside hutches a couple days ago. We're going to see if they make it through the weekend. Hopefully they do. I think they will, but we're going to find out. So far, they're doing fine. All right. Dwight says, I made it again. I'm trying to convince my wife of my plans for quail. She's afraid of the smell and the crowing since I want to use the garage. Yeah, that could be a little bit difficult. I don't know if you're going to be able to convince her otherwise, but they do make a little bit of noise. As they get older, they kind of get over that. And if you turn the lights out, they usually calm down at night. But yeah, they will crow, especially when they first hit age. They'll crow like crazy. Now, the smell's not really too bad if you can keep the droppings dry and if you stay on top of cleaning out the dropping trays. I don't know why you plan on doing it inside. If you have it outside, you might be able to convince her a little bit easier. Keeping them outside, and there's no reason you shouldn't keep them outside. Just build yourself an outside hutch. Just throw them outside. They do great outside. There's no reason you have to keep them inside. So that might be an easier way to convince her. But hey, it's you. You can do it however you want to do it. Assuming your wife lets you do it, I guess, is the point there. Yusef is here. Good to see you, Yusef. Thanks for joining. Emily says, sold 4 California at auction. Got enough money to feed 11 other rabbits for 2 months. Got enough money to feed 11 other rabbits for 2 months. That is fantastic. That's the way to go for sure. I haven't sold any animals in a long time, but yeah, I used to sell quite a few quail and help pay for quail feed, and it's a great way to do it. Grant says we hatched quail about 6 weeks ago, looking for, and then there's something else. Looking for, there we go. We hatched quail about 6 weeks ago, looking forward to calling out the extra roosters and having eggs by Thanksgiving. Well, good luck. I hope that all works out. Make sure you got lights on them. Get that daylight up to 14 hours a day or you're not going to get any eggs out of them. But yeah, if you hatched them out 6 weeks ago, you should start getting eggs. Assuming you got the light right, you should start getting eggs anytime. And if you don't have the light on them, add it now because it's going to take them a couple of weeks to get back into the egg laying cycle, or get into it, I should say. All right, Whiskey Tango says the mini Rex are for the kids for show rabbits. That's the only reason we have them. It's easier for them to handle. Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Jay Moore says mine barely crow and nowhere like chickens. Yeah, they are different. Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry, I'll get to that next. They are different than chickens, I'll agree, but usually what I find is that when those roosters, if they've got enough light, 14 hours a day to throw them into breeding mode, when they hit about 7 weeks old, man, they start crowing like crazy. But it sounds a lot like a songbird. It's not like a rooster crow, like a chicken rooster crow. It's different. But they get pretty rambunctious with it, at least for a couple of weeks, and then they'll usually start to calm down just a little bit. Grant's talking about the quail that he's going to be calling out and having eggs by, and he says we're going to smoke 5 to 7 of them. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I don't think I've ever had smoked quail, but that can be bad, right? I mean, smoke anything, it's good. Katrina says hi to everyone from Gilroy, California. Good to see you, Katrina. Let's see. Katrina says I just got back from giving blood. Awesome. Not congratulations, I guess, but thank you for doing that. That is one thing I cannot do. I cannot stand the feeling of blood being drawn from my veins. It just can't do it. So I appreciate those that can, and thank you for doing it, but I can't do it. All right, Robert says, long question. I have my buck in a 5-cage setup on very end. The female right next to him will not let him breed her, but when I breed other females with him, she tries to attack the other females. Okay, so she tries to attack him through the cage, I'm guessing. I got a couple of suggestions for you. I don't know why exactly she won't let him breed with her. I can pretty much guess why she's trying to attack the other rabbits, though. It's because she's probably territorial. Does get really territorial, and they're very protective of their areas. That's why you never take a buck to a doe whenever you go to breed. You always take the doe to the buck, because if you put the buck in the doe's cage, there's a good chance she's going to fight with him and really can do some damage to him. Does are very territorial. So that's all she's doing. She's just trying to protect her territory. One of my suggestions would be to put a divider between her and the other rabbit, if you can, the buck, so she can't see him all the time. What I use is just a piece of aluminum flashing, basically. It's it just goes between the cages. I just wired it to one cage. So that keeps them from seeing each other. And that might help with her being a little bit more apt to breed with him. Or if you put him in another cage altogether and then put her in that cage with him, she might be a little bit more willing to breed too. It may just be that, that cage right next to each other, because there's no divider or anything like that, she kind of thinks of it as her own space, and she's just a little reluctant to let any other rabbits into her own space. And even moving her into his cage kind of makes her feel that. That's all my only guess on that. So you might try one of those two things and see what happens. Jim Moore says dehydrated 10 dozen eggs, can only eat so many. Dehydrated. I've never dehydrated eggs. Let's see. Yeah, I know what you mean about only can eat so many, unless they're deviled, right? And then you can eat as many as, however, there's still a lot more when they're deviled. Emily says, my rabbits brought the highest price at the auction. Awesome. Congratulations on that. Dwight says, if I clean the tray often, can I keep the smell down for quail? Yeah, you can. You're actually, I think you said you're directing that at Jay Moore, I think. But either way, I can answer that for you. And I'm sure that, Jay Moore can answer as well. But yeah, if you clean the trays often, you can keep the smell down for sure. The smell's really not that bad as long as you can keep them dry. Now, if they get wet, that's a different story altogether. So if you have like a leaky water or something like that spills water into your dropping trays, yeah, that's bad. It's a really bad smell. But, if you can keep them dry and you empty them out quite frequently, it's really not that bad of a smell. One thing I will caution you about, though, by keeping them in a garage, is you're going to have feathers and dust and stuff everywhere. They throw feathers. It's just, they're very dusty. Let's put it that way. You're going to have that stuff go all over the place. So that's one thing to kind of keep in mind. Paula says, thanks so much. We will be in the woods in Anderson. Yeah, I know exactly where Anderson is. Yeah, we were, don't forget, if you get a deer this weekend in Anderson, it is McDonald County mandatory CWD checking. So you have to take it, but the check station's right there in Anderson. I'm hunting just on the other side of Seneca. And if I get a deer, I have to take it to Anderson to get it checked before taking it to the processor, which is a huge pain. But anyway, mandatory this weekend. Paula says, heading back over to binge watch. Heading back to my binge watch, but going to leave this running for you. Well, thanks, Paula. I appreciate that. Big Mike, good to see you. Says, howdy, I finally caught the live discussion. Yep, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Let's see what's Verna say. Dwight Nash, she says, I keep them in my apartment, cleaning trays, and having an exhaust fan is a great help. Yep, that would be a big help for sure. Jay Moore says, yeah, they're poop machines. Water makes the poop stinky to use, so use the type of water that they have to pack. Yep, for sure. Verna says watering troughs are the best. I use the water cups and like them quite a bit, but I bet they could both work. And Rose says, hey to everybody. Hey, Rose, good to see you. Let's see. Dwight, yeah, an exhaust fan's a great idea. I agree. Yeah, exhaust fan's a good idea. And Verna says, if you live in an apartment, you don't have a choice. Yeah, I can imagine. Grant says, our quail are 6 weeks old and crowing like crazy. Not a bother. The chickens are loud too, but it's interesting that they crow so much at this stage. Yeah, they do calm down as they get a little bit older. But yeah, at first they do crow a lot. Andy, someone had me butcher some Dutch and Netherland dwarfs for them. Yes, they were small, but I was surprised at how they dressed out. For a small family of maybe 2 to 3, not bad. Yeah, I can imagine there's still some meat on them. But it just almost doesn't seem worth it to me. But then again, I raise quail too, and they're much tinier. Dwight says, thank you. I am afraid of predators outside and the winter in the mountains of Virginia. Yeah, well, I can understand predators for sure. That could be a concern. You might try to figure out a couple of ways to defend against that. Electric wire is one of the things that I would think might do a good job with that. It worked for me when I had the fox after mine. But as far as the weather goes, they'll do fine in the weather. As long as they have a windbreak, they can get out of the wind, they're going to be fine. And you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I get it. If you want to keep them in a shed instead, that's perfectly all right. You might also be able to look at getting, and I don't know what your funds are like because they can get kind of expensive, but one of those little portable outbuildings or something that you could keep them in that might be a kind of a good compromise. All right. King Polo says, what are you do with all the rabbit poop I have for rabbit? Well, here's a good thing about rabbit manure is it is a cold fertilizer, which means, or cold manure, I should say, which means that you don't have to compost it before using it as a fertilizer. So a lot of mine goes right into the garden. You can put it right into your plants, right into your potted plants, right into your garden, in your garden boxes, any of that, right on the plants. You don't have to worry about composting it first. So that's good. Now, of course, that's not all of the rabbit manure I use. I mean, that'd be a lot of manure in the garden and stuff. You still need some soil in there, of course. But anytime I plant anything, always rabbit manure goes with it because it's a great fertilizer. And again, it's cold, so you don't have to compost it first. The rest of the rabbit manure that I get goes in the compost pile. So I just throw it in there with all my other kitchen scraps, grass clippings, vegetable matter, all that stuff goes right into my compost pile and compost down. All right, Yusef, look at that. What a kind comment there. Says, remember viewers to click the like button. Thank you so much, Yusef. I appreciate that. Ed says, question, what's your favorite part of the deer and how do you cook it? Oh boy, everybody wants to know that, right? Favorite part, definitely the backstrap. The backstrap is the best by far. And you can do it a couple of different ways. I like to do that. Sometimes I'll slice it up in pieces and do like a beef marsala with it. Venison marsala, I guess it is, with mushrooms and some marsala wine, and serve that over some egg noodles. That's really good. You can cut it into steaks, wrap it with bacon. That's really good. Let's see. I made Salisbury, not Salisbury. Was it Salisbury? Was it? No. I always get these mixed up. Not Salisbury, but stroganoff with it the other day with a tenderloin that I had in the freezer from a year or so ago, and I needed to use up. I had to cut a lot of it away because it was freezer burn, but still had enough left over. I made some stroganoff, and that was pretty good. There's lots of different ways you can use it. Any way you'd use like beef tenderloin, deer tenderloin does really well that way too. And yeah, the backstrap for sure. I should say, that's probably my favorite part. But I do also enjoy the hamburger quite a bit. Getting a deer, I didn't get a deer last year and had to buy hamburger throughout the year. And good grief, if you've seen the price of hamburger lately, man, it's gone up. It's incredibly expensive. So I really need to get a deer this year, fill that freezer up. And one deer will last us most of the year. It provides, usually what I do is I get the back straps cut out whole, leave them whole. I might get one or two roasts cut out. Although deer roast is not my favorite. It tends to be a little bit too lean, a little bit too tough, but it is okay. It's good. So I'll get one or two roasts cut out of it, and then I'll have the rest. I'll have a couple of, maybe a pound or two of jerky just as a treat, a couple of rolls of summer sausage, some snack sticks, and the rest of it all goes into hamburger. And that can last us most of the year, provide pretty much all the hamburger we need for chili, spaghetti sauce, tacos. It's primarily what I use the hamburger for. It is a little bit gamey to use for just like cooking a meatloaf or, just a hamburger. And a lot of that goes into the way the processors, if you can store the meat, like age it a little bit, that gaminess is going to go away. It's not going to be as gamey, but they don't have the ability to do that. There are just too many deer going through the processor, and I don't have the ability to process on my own. I don't have a cooler or a big walk-in cooler or anything like that to hang it in to age it. So I kind of have to deal with that. But it's still fine to use for, like I said, hamburger, spaghetti sauce, chili, taco, any of that kind of stuff where you're going to mix something else in with it that kind of covers up that gaminess. It works great for that. All right. Jay Moore says it's cold in Michigan and easier to deal with them in a garage. Yeah, well, I can understand that. Yeah, putting it in the garage definitely makes it easier on you. I don't know how much, the birds can handle the cold as long as they can get out of the wind. But yeah, it does make it easier for you to deal with for sure. King Polo says, I'm looking to buy hay in bulk. Should I go to Amazon for that? I doubt it. I've never tried to buy hay from Amazon. But if you have a source of it locally, I can almost guarantee you're going to get it cheaper locally. Hay is, if you want to buy it in bulk, that's a huge amount for shipping, and the shipping prices are going to be out of this world. So you're probably better off just trying to find a local farmer check Craigslist for people that are selling hay. A lot of times local farmers they'll bale up hay and they'll sell it. So you can buy it from them instead. But I doubt it's going to be cheaper to buy it on Amazon. I don't think that would be a good source. I don't know. Check and see, but that's my thoughts. Katrina says, Tortellini, a doe, had one baby on Saturday and it was dead on Monday morning. Bruising suggests she may have squished it. Rebred this morning. Meatball hasn't had any yet. Day 35 is tomorrow. Yeah, when they have a small litter like that of one or even just two babies, it's incredibly hard to keep them going. First of all, bigger litters with more rabbits, they kind of snuggle together, and that helps keep them warm, keeps them from chilling. It is quite possible she may have stepped on it, probably unintentionally. Who knows? But it doesn't usually bruise them up too much if you've got a nice, nest box where they're in the straw. I mean, they get pushed into the straw, but not stomped on and bruised up. A lot of times if a rabbit does pass away, a baby rabbit, you're going to see bruising anyway. It's just blood pooling in the body. It's kind of morbid and disgusting to talk about. So I don't know that I'd blame her for stomping on it. It's probably just because it was one baby rabbit and it didn't have any other rabbits to snuggle with to stay warm, and it probably chilled and died for that reason. I'm sorry to hear that. Good luck with your other rabbit. Hopefully she has her babies tomorrow because like you said, 35 days, that's pushing it, and much past that I'd give up on her and try to rebreed her. Katrina says, I think it may be I tried them too soon after the heat. Both have had litters in the past at their previous homes, hoping it works around this time. Yeah, I hope it does too. Having only one baby and being a proven doe that's had litters in the past makes me wonder how old she is. So if she's a 5-6-year-old rabbit, she may be done breeding. It may just be that she's older. Usually the heat doesn't really affect the litter size necessarily. It could. So hopefully it's better on the next one. I wouldn't worry about it too much until you get, multiple litters in a row like that. But definitely, that would be one thing I would be concerned about.